Good evening and welcome. Tonight, drama, pageantry, and faith framing a truly history-making day here. The Catholic Church has a new pope, and he is an American. White smoke pouring from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel this evening, signaling there was a new pope. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost emerging from the conclave chosen by fellow cardinals to be pope and to lead the Catholic faith. And then appearing at St. Peter's Basilica before tens of thousands who had crowded into St. Peter's Square, introduced by his new papal name, Pope Leo XIV. His selection defying a widely held assumption that an American could never be pope. Having spent most of his life outside the United States, Pope Leo XIV celebrated tonight with deep pride in his hometown of Chicago. The cardinal electors working with surprising speed and focus as they elected Leo on the second day of the conclave, setting a new course for the Catholic Church. Many people thought this extraordinary moment would never happen. An American, now the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics for the first time.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
He is now known as Pope Leo XIV, but until today, he was Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost.
Yeah, for an American pope for the first time, it's really, really crazy.
We cried, we hugged, we laughed, and that's before we knew that the new pope was from the U.S. And then when that happened, we cried again.
Born in Chicago, the 69-year-old was educated at Villanova and led the Augustinian order, spending much of his life outside of the U.S., working extensively in Italy and Peru. On St. Peter's Square, we met Chicago native Denise Utter, who says she started shaking when she heard the news.
I'm an Augustinian affiliate and know his brothers and the people that he went to school with, and he will be I'm here because of him. He will be an amazing pope.
While back home, we heard from his brother, John.
It's a tremendous, tremendous thing to take in, but it's something to be very proud of. He gives the advice to us. But to him, advice to him, I would just say, be yourself.
Bishop Robert Barron says Pope Leo is highly competent and highly respected. When you looked at the attributes of Pope Leo XIV, did it make sense?
It does. He's a man of extraordinary accomplishment, head of the worldwide Augustinian order. I know him as a very kind of quietly a competent person, not a flashy personality, but someone that you can just see has a lot of integrity. Against a pale blue sky, the white smoke began streaming from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel just after 6 p.m. A deafening roar erupting from the crowd of tens of thousands. There were tears, hugs, and prayers. This nun overcome with emotion. We were with these students from the University of Louisville when the smoke appeared.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're here. We did it.
This seems like something that's going to be very hard to top in your lives.
Yes.
You feel that way?
Yes.
Oh, most definitely.
You know, you'd say once in a lifetime experience. I think it's once in 1,000 lifetime experience to be a boy from Kentucky, to go to Rome, to see the faith. I'll never be able to top that.
Around Rome, people dropped what they were doing and ran. 150,000 people filling the streets leading to St. Peter's Square. Anticipation building as the world waited to find out who was chosen as Pope. Inside, Pope Leo changed into his new vestments, leaving the Sistine Chapel to the applause of the cardinals, pausing for a moment of prayer. Then outside.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam. We have a Pope. Pope Leo emerging onto the balcony, greeting the world as pontiff for the first time. Fluent in Italian and Spanish, he addressed the crowd in both, drawing comparisons to Francis as he spoke of the importance of a missionary church and a church that builds bridges. He is also a modern pope, active on social media. As a cardinal, he appeared to criticize both President Trump and Vice President Vance, recently posting the headline, "J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others." But tonight, the president praising the pick.
What greater honor could there be? And we were a little bit surprised, very happy. It was just a great, absolutely great honor.
It took 2 days to elect Pope Leo, just like his two most recent predecessors. The question now, what kind of pope will he be?
Pope Leo's brother John also telling our Chicago station that the new pope loves playing Wordle and watched the movie Conclave recently. Now the world is scrambling to learn even more about it. Here's Ann Thompson.
Tonight, the world calls him Pope Leo XIV. To his friends, he's Bob. The multilingual 69-year-old told an Italian interviewer earlier this month
at Chicago
that he grew up in a very Catholic family in Chicago. At Villanova University near Philadelphia, today bells rang out to celebrate one of their own. The new pope earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1977. Villanova is one of only 2 Augustinian Catholic institutions of higher education in the U.S. The Augustinians here in Rome enormously proud.
Did you ever think your friend would become pope?
No, it's still incredible. I was crying in the piazza, just overwhelmed with joy about my friend's the Pope.
Father Joseph Farrell has known Pope Leo since the 1980s. He says the new Pope plays tennis every week and is a speedy texter. I asked him to text the Pope and ask if he's a Chicago Cubs or White Sox fan. The Pope texted back, Sox.
The one you see is the one who he is. He does not put on airs. He does not put on a mask.
He first came to Rome to study church law, then went to northern Peru as a missionary. He spent more than 20 years in the country, becoming a naturalized citizen. There he would rise through the ranks of the church, becoming a bishop, then called back to Rome by Pope Francis to oversee the church's bishops, bringing a global and American perspective.
I am American, and I think I do have some insights into the church in the United States. So the need to be able to advise, work with Pope Francis, and to look at the challenges that the church in the United States is facing, I hope to be able to respond to them with a healthy dialogue.
Like Francis before him, he wants a church that builds bridges and welcomes all. Though as a cardinal he was a prince of the church, he never saw himself that way.
The bishop is not supposed to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom, but rather called authentically to be humble, to be close to the people he serves.
As a cardinal, he was close to Francis. Here's what he had to say back in 2013.
He's a man who, on the one hand, is very simple and very profound in his faith, but he's a hard worker, and he knows, I think, what's ahead of him.
Now it is his turn to lead the church. The man friends call Bob, the first American Pope, Leo XIV.
And we're joined now by Ann and George Weigel, our Vatican analysts. Ann, we were sitting here as the name was announced of the new Pope, and we weren't quite sure what we heard.
No, it seemed unbelievable because when I looked at my cheat sheet of the names in Latin, it said Robert Francis, and the only Robert Francis in contention was Robert Francis Prevost. And I couldn't believe it was an American because we've always been told no American will ever be Pope. And so we wanted to double check it to be absolutely sure.
So, George, let me turn to you. Why is it so hard to accept the idea, or has it been hard to accept the idea of an American Pope?
Well, it's been hard in the past, Lester, because the United States exerts such political, economic, military, cultural power in the world that I think a lot of cardinal electors said, let's not give him the Catholic Church as well. Cardinal Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, has spent a great deal of his life in Latin America, and I think that took a lot of the edge off of the notion that there can never be an American Pope.
George and Ann, thanks so much. So many are celebrating the first American Pope tonight, especially in his hometown. Shaquille Brewster is in Chicago for us.
As the world welcomed Pope Leo XIV during his first appearance in St. Peter's Square, it was a more personal celebration back here in his hometown of Chicago.
This is beyond our wildest dreams.
Sister Barbara Reed knew Robert Prevost personally. She was there in Rome when Pope Francis elevated him to be a cardinal.
How are you processing this?
It's a little overwhelming yet, and as you can see, I'm still a bit speechless.
This afternoon, she was hosting a watch party at the Chicago school where he earned his master's in divinity.
What kind of person is he?
He's very warm, very inclusive, very intelligent.
Today, these kids hearing the news during a visit to the city's Holy Name Cathedral.
It was so amazing to see him come out.
The new pontiff grew up in the Chicago suburb of Dalton. People here still know him as Bob. But it was in Peru where Father John Lydon lived and worked with him for 10 years.
Is it going to be hard for you to stop calling him Bob?
Yes, yeah, actually, when I get a chance to communicate with him, that will be hard to say Leo now.
Lydon is now working the same job the new pope held when he was studying in Chicago.
His birthday comes up in September. Every part of the parish wanted to have him for a birthday celebration because they felt very close to him.
He's well liked.
Very well liked.
And tonight, Chicago's mayor celebrating the news, writing, "We hope to welcome you back home soon."